Great morning, everyone, and welcome to the Piper Academy Morning Market Report, the only show where you get everything that you need for a fresh startup. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. Shout out to username in the house. OC says it's fire. Thank you, my friend. I think you are fire, my friend. Mornings are just so easy, so much easy when you have a friend like username like Dylan, like Roaring Brave, like Harp. What's up, buddy? Welcome. Or like Donato Cabrera, like Alexander GG. What's up, Alexander G? Like Ninja Glock, like Race Mule. Hey, what's up, my friend? How is it going, bro? Like Buck, like Donato Cabrera, of course. Double shout out, double friendship, of course. Like JR, like Caliphant, and of course, if you have a beautiful coffee next to you. By the way, one very amazing coffee. I did not make this. My wife did it for me. And it's not because she is my wife, but it's just amazing. It's like having Starbucks right next to you. I mean, honey, it's awesome. Thank you. So also, hey, Frank the Tank, what's up, my friend? JR, double shout out. What is up, guys? Let me see. Sleep with that says yeah, with Calified. What is up, buddy? Good morning. Good morning to you. JC, what's up? JCC, what's up, bro? Welcome. Today, again, we have a ton of news, but we're gonna speed through those. I want to get to X mark the spot, and also I want to get to the CME section because those are gonna be important things. And as we expected yesterday, oh man, Bitcoin playing out fantastically, phenomenal. So let's take a look at the morning market report. Let's get it. And guys, amazing mornings to you. All right, today in the morning market report, let's take a look at what we have in here. A couple of things. Let me just get this out of the way. Perfect. And 1 second, things are not playing with me today. I have my cheat sheet in here to follow up with the news. 1 second. Oh man, come on. Don't do me this. All right, perfect. I think I got it. So let's get started here, and let's take a look at the reuters. So let's get started with China. Trade stocks are resumed in London. Of course, that we already have seen this. We've been expecting that, right? And we were just waiting ahead to see how is it going to be playing out. I made 44%. JR says I made 44% on my VV long since I posted in Piper Academy. Nice, my friend. VVV, great, brother. That's amazing, guys. If you are not following JR on the Piper Academy, you guys should absolutely. He's posting trades up and down, all around, all the day over that Discord. Go check it out. He's amazing. All right, so talking about this, China trade stocks going well on second day. What does that mean, guys? Yesterday we went over. Remember, I give you the overview. So we were just waiting on the China talks. It was the most important, most market-driven or market mover news out there. And what happened went well. Not only that, also Donald Trump says China is not easy, right? China is not easy, but we're doing fantastic, or we're doing well, and that actually pumped the markets. Remember yesterday I mentioned, remember this could be one of those things that is buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So we do have a little contraption right after hitting my my specific part on Bitcoin. Why not? Let's take a look at that before we go over. This was yesterday analysis, so we were expecting to follow up along this trend line in here. Look at that. I mean, it was what 110 out of 110 and 800. I mean, it was what a 600 to what is it 800, $200 off. Well, maybe guys, I'm so sorry. Maybe I'll try to do better next time. But I mean, we went right to that area right here that we were expecting, coming back down for a retest. Remember, where is our entry? Some support areas. At this point, I'm expecting to go a little bit lower in our oscillator, looking for that flip of the ribbon. I want to change this a little bit. I think that we could have an earlier flip of the ribbon. So let me come back and try to fix this a little bit better, something like that, right? So let's expect this as an early flip off the river. Mike Play, what's up, brother? Welcome. Buck, he said you are amazing. You are. I am also think that you're amazing, Buck. Thank you, my friend. All right. We have the other the other gang in the house, or not yet? Oh, I thought we did. I don't know why I thought I saw gang other here. Hey, little fish, what's up, my friend? Good morning to you, my friend. Cheers. I promise you, it doesn't have alcohol at all. No, for real, it doesn't. All right, YouTube, please don't listen to what I said at all. This is the guy that wears a tinfoil hat, just so you know, YouTube. All right, so let's go over to the rest of the news. It's been actually playing out fantastically as we expected. Now, maybe some corrections. We'll see because the pump is real. Things are going well in the crypto space. Things are going well in the macro space. But numbers, how are numbers doing? Let's try to get to it very quickly as soon as we can. Officials talked rare earth and export control issue crucial in industrial supply chain and global growth. Exactly what we were expecting. White House economic advisor Kane Hassett say that the Monday that U.S. Could lift recently imposed export controls on goods such as semiconductors in China. If China speeds up the delivery of what rare earth metals and magnets, exactly as we were expecting. Of course, this is not like big prediction or anything. It is just the elephant in the room. No, just kidding, my friend. It's just the elephant in the room. By the way, shout out to elephant. Welcome. Thank you so much for sticking into the news here. We also see here David Brumbelow. What's up, David? Welcome, my friend. Nice to have you around, brother. Great to have you here. All right, so basically the same main topics in here, talking about rare metals, right, magnets, and of course semiconductors. Both countries had it their way, or seems like they might be having their way. I mean, at the end of it all, I don't know. It kind of like blows my mind how we start making that pressure, right? Remember what I mentioned yesterday behind that hard shell of each country not breaking, standing their ground, which is amazing. I mean, that's in any situation, that's what I would like my country to do for me, right? Stand for our interest of right, but at the end of it all, not escalating stuff. That is amazing. One step backwards in the WW3, if you ask me. That is fantastic. All right, so let's move on to the next story here. I'm trying to fix this thing. All right, perfect. I think I got it. Dollar firms as markets await trade in here it is. Sorry, dollar firms dollar steady as traders await details from U.S.-China talks. Especially, I mean, we know that everything is just in pause, right? Things are kind of like moving. Still nothing a major move, but we see U.S. President Donald Trump and his Chinese contemporary Xi Jinping spoke by phone last week at a crucial time for both economies that are showing signs of strain from Trump's cascade of tariff orders since January. The dollar index, which measures the U.S., of course, currency against six other, was less than 0.1% higher at 98.989 and remains closest to 6-week low of 98.351 it touches last week. So I think this is important. The euro was flat at 1423, sorry, while the Australian dollar often seems as proxy for risk sentiment was 0.1 lower at 0.6513. So what are we talking forex now? Well, remember, stability of countries, what are they backing what, right? What are they standing behind of? What are the statements? And basically how they're holding out throughout the tariff war, and also how they handle their economies. This speaks about a stronger economy that we would have expected, especially when Donald Trump, I don't want to say bully around, but open up the, let's just say, throw the very first light stone with the tariff, which is not bad. I mean, he started out something. It's going out. It's a little bit well. I think this is a soap opera of economy, but we'll see how that evolves so far. So far, dollar staying steady, especially after Donald Trump having it his way, not all the way up, I would say, not all the way out there, but still something important. By the way, this looks like a U.S. phone number, maybe Michigan state, Michigan code, I believe so. Yeah, right. It's 989, right? 465, something like that. Just so you know, routers. So let's take a look at the global market warm ups. Well, snapshot Wall Street mute at opens as U.S. China trade stocks in focus. It actually is not, I wouldn't call it that mute. They actually started up quite better than yesterday. I mean, Wall Street futures mix ahead in London trade talks. Traders acquisition as London says negotiations are going well. So perfect. I mean, we see the Dow Jones average fell a little bit, 23 points or 0.05%. It's opened at 42,738. S&P 500 rose, so it went back up. So they are having that equilibrium between those. At the end of it all, I think it was overall positive and stood its ground as everything's going well or good enough, I would say, right? Let's go over oil because we've been talking about oil as a possible sentiment or as a recession influx or recession measurement tool. And that's what I want to go over into the next. So I think this is big. Why? Because seeing also oil kicking back up, and we're gonna be taking a look at today's oil chart. I think it is stabilizing in a very nice position. Brent crude futures rose 44 cents. That is very nice, or 0.7% to 67.48 a barrel by 1,200 GMT, extending Monday's advance. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 43 cents. Army Piper in the house. What is up, Piper? Good morning, alumni. Good morning to you, Piper. Welcome to your show. So I've been warming up your seat. Hopefully you are back soon. Take your time, by the way. Not pressure, not pressure. Get your study. Your study. No, get your, what is it? Your workshop ready. We'll get you back in here as soon as possible. Mexican internet. Am I lagging? Pipe rolling in all. Let me know if I'm lagging. Oh, I am. It seems like I am. Hello, 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 hello. Are we back? Are we back? All right. Seems like we're back. For some reason, we were lagging. Thank you guys for giving me the heads up in there. I was not aware that we were lagging that bad. Sorry for that. Let's see. All right, all right. I think that we are doing it. Were we back or we're not back? All right, sorry for that little awkward pause. Let's continue. Let me just move things around here so I can keep an eye on lag. It says my internet is not, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth thing. I don't know what's going on. Was not happening yesterday, but let's try to push it. Let's try to continue here. Sorry for the delay, guys. All right, so let's go and take a look at gold. Gold inches up as market awaits outcome of U.S.-China trade talks inflation data. What are we talking about gold? Gold, as you may know, it is kind of like the recessionary go-to when things are going to a recession state. Well, then everybody started fleeting to a safe, proven asset, right? In this case, it has been gold. So gold's been standing their ground. I haven't seen any major spikes in gold, but we're also going to be trying to take a look at it. But as you can see, well, when the global markets are in a pico, will we see gold going up? So I just wanted to stop by and take a look at a little bit of what's going on with gold. So gold rose just a 0.3% as market braced for trade and inflation signals. Something, and this is finally where we get to the thumbnail of the show. I think this is amazing. This is important. Hopefully, we can start saying a little bit more in here. So, do we have a crypto traditional bank, crypto traditional bank now? Well, it's not quite there. I need to admit it was a little bit of a clickbait, but look at that. Societe Generale's becomes the first major bank to launch. Thank you, honey. To launch this dollar-pegged stablecoin. So basically, we're seeing that they're launching a new stablecoin. We'll read a little bit more in here. So dollar-backed stablecoin to be issued on Ethereum and Solana blockchains. So Solana and Ethereum, well, remember yesterday I was mentioning Ethereum might still have a lot more to push through, right? This could be one of those factors. Solana, let's take a look at Solana in the next upcoming paging here. So Paris, June the 10th, France's Societe Generale said on Tuesday it's planning to launch a public tradable dollar-backed stablecoin through its digital asset subsidiary, marking it the first major bank to enter the growth market of dollar-pegged cryptocurrency. The U.S. is gonna, or the U.S. pegged coin is gonna be called Coin Vertible, and it's gonna be launched both in the Solana and Ethereum blockchain, with public trading expected to start in July. So 1 month to start getting it. So I think we should be looking at what's USDT gonna be doing, what's Binance gonna be doing. Remember, he's also pegged to something like that. USDC, is he gonna be offering anything else? How they're gonna be handling their backed up system. I mean, who is going to be auditing the new stablecoin? I think all of those questions need to be answered before we fully dive in here. But finally, we see a big major bank kind of like going the way that I would be expecting to go. So shout out to the crypto market. Shout out to this bank. Hopefully it does well. It does great in here. Just piece of advice, banking here. Do not go the same route that every other bank is going. All right. So do your best. Offer good interest rates. Offer stablecoin products, offer many things that we are expecting out of the crypto market, and I guarantee you're going to do well in this space. So crypto funds asset hit a record high as investors hedge and diversified. So let's just leave it as is. Just basically the headlines is the actual important part in here, and I want to move into something else which is important. I'm going to be skipping a video. I'm going to be showing you a video that showcases why is it so important what Trump is doing. I don't want to be like so pro-Trump in here, but this applies to any and all of the countries, right? This is about manufacturing, right? So since Donald Trump started adding the tariff, I had a critic eye on it, right? And I mentioned that this could be going very well, and it should be doing that because of the lack of production that U.S. had at this time, right? I have a friend in the States that produces, what do we call them last time? Forks that shoot things out of the barrel, right? So let's just call it that he manufactured forks, right? And by moving or by applying those tariffs, yeah, he gets lots of trouble. Why? Because his prices, because he's a small and intermediate company, he gets trouble manufacturing not overseas. But what happened when you bring up that knowledge? Well, you don't bring just the production. You need to have people that knows how to use the machinery, to know the processes, right, and everything else around it. So this is going to be a very important topic that I want to talk about. But in the meantime, Trump to keep startling at White House despite break with Elon Musk. Oh man, are they making the pieces? I think they are. I mean, they're shaking their hand off at this point. I mean, I think they both have, they grab each other's, you know what, right? And I think they realize both interests need to be aligned in order to both of them progress, right? Yesterday was a lot of fun when I asked you guys. I know, Elon cannot be elected at all, right? And this is not a realistic question. It was not a realistic question, but I was like, hey, if Donald Trump and Elon went both head to head for the next presidency, who would you vote for? And I was very surprised. He had a lot of backed up by Elon and also kind of like backed up by Donald Trump. I mean, at the end of it all, we already have seen how Donald Trump has ruled before and right now, right? So I think that curiosity really picked you guys up on seeing how maybe Elon would have been as president. Of course, not a realistic, it's just a what if thing, right? So let's go here in hopes for Fed rate cuts are fading. No shit. But come on. Oh, really? Investopedia, come on, you can do better. I know. We're bringing this up. I'm bringing it out of Investopedia, but no shit, right? I mean, we've been looking into it for a long, long time, and I think you guys remember my expression. I think was yesterday, yeah, or Friday. I don't quite remember when I was saying, well, guys, as we get closer, right, to the economical calendar where we have the next upcoming CME meeting, right, we're gonna be seeing those numbers shift. I was expecting a little bit more shift through cutting rates because of the pressure that we had from Donald Trump, right? Especially since we saw Donald J. Trump asking for 1 full point cut on rates. And then we open up this, and I was like, dude, what? Dude, you should have moved the other way around. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I mean, we have kept this as we go, right? I want to go over now what is going to be important, what we have had so far on the calendar. Let's go over here and let's take a look at the United States ISM manufacturing PMI. All right. So this is going to be important because this reflects how things are going. So basically, CME, let's see here, the SMI manufacturing PMI from May, it went from 88.5 versus forecasted around 50 points or 50.0, indicates contraction. This is important, guys. So this is indicating contraction. We can see it in here, right? We don't have any growth. So far, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive months showcasing a contraction. What does that mean? Well, ISMP services PMI May 49 versus forecasted 52 services now also contracting. Why did it matter? The PMI, it is minor than 50, signals recessionary risk or recession risk. All right. So this is where we take a big breath. Are things playing out in here, or are tariff pushing the SMI into dangerous territory? Remember what I've been mentioning, not today, not yesterday, not the past month, since February, where I mentioned, well, if you keep putting some pressure, you might be seeing some results, but you're going to be pushing it until something breaks. There is a slight line to no returns, right? So basically, are we seeing that? I would say that we can still have some saving measures as long as, I would say, the rates are kept as they are. All right, so not cutting rates so far, and also seeing a little bit of a better ISM services PMI improvement here. Remember, anything less than 50 signals recession risk. Risk being the key factor here, right? We are not to a recession. It's just implying that we are in a risk of a recession. I think here's where we start, or where we should be seeing Donald Trump maybe letting go slightly, not to choke his own country, right? But other than that, let's take a look at the video that I have prepared for you guys. Well, this is exactly the same thing that we were talking about, the US ISM non-manufacturing purchasing managers index. So basically PMI showing up a below 50% indicates the non-manufacturing section is generally contracting. Manufacturing sector, it's contracting, right? So that is important. Let's go and take a look at this video here. By the way, guys, this is from Smarter Every Day. Let me see if you can see it. This is, I believe, a ex-engineer from the NASA. He does a very, very great way explaining things into a full extent, and he does investigate stuff. So as you can reading here, I tried to make something in America. The Smarter Scrubber. By the way, guys, if you like barbecuing stuff, check out this one. Might be saving you a visit to a doctor. I'm just saying. But what he has to do, and let me just bring up the captions here. It's gonna be the most important part. He explained what is it so important, right? So let me see if I can push out the sounding here for you guys, and let's hear it.
They're made in the USA, buy them, they're this price. Very difficult. The next part of this story is very interesting. I had my parts and it was time to injection mold, and I went to a facility that does injection molding, and I said, can you make these parts? And they said, yes, we can make the parts. And I said, that's great. I would also like to make the molds here because I want to learn more about molds. And they said, oh no, we don't make molds here. And I said, why not? They said, we don't do that. We ship the part, the CAD file to China, and they make the mold and they send it back and then we injection mold. I said, no, that's not what I want to do. I don't want my intellectual property in China. I want to make it here. And they said, good luck. And this is the moment where this whole experiment came into focus for me. I realized at that moment, we're screwed. I think we're screwed as a nation if we can't do the intelligent work of tool and die, making the tools that make the things. It used to be that America did the smart thing, and then we would send the machine that we made to another country, and the country would operate the machine in the developing world. We have flipped it. We are now to the point where the smart stuff is done somewhere else, and they send us the machines, and we push the buttons to operate the machines. I need you to understand this, because I realize we have lost something very, very important. And we did it by lulling ourselves to sleep, by pushing money around and doing the intellectual property work, but not doing the manufacturing work. I think it was best put simply by the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, while sitting in China when he was asked a question about tooling.
There's a confusion about China that, and let me at least give you my opinion. The popular conception is that companies come to China because of low labor cost. I'm not sure what part of China they go to, but the truth is China stopped being the low labor cost country many years ago. And that is not the reason to come to China from a supply point of view. The reason is because of the skill and the type of skill it is. Like the products we do require really advanced tooling, and the precision that you have to have in tooling and working with the materials that we do are state of the art. And the tooling skill is very deep here. You know, in the US, you could have a meeting of tooling engineers and I'm not sure we could fill the room. In China, you could fill multiple football fields.
So Tim Cook said that in 2017 at the Fortune Global Forum. Now, there's two ways of looking at this. One way is, well, Tim Cook is of course going to say that. He's incentivized because his business is tied up in China. He's not going to cross the Communist Party because he needs his stuff to be made there. The other way to look at it is, well, maybe that's right. Maybe the tooling and advancement is, you know, somewhere way beyond what Americans can do. So here's what I want to do. I know a man that is specifically like unique in the world that can answer this question. He's a friend of mine named Jeremy Fielding. He has a YouTube channel. He's an engineer. He speaks Chinese. He spent a significant amount of time exploring these topics in China, and he's right there beside you. Let's just ask him. All right, Jeremy.
All right, let's keep it as is. The next part here in the interview is very interesting because, as you can see, he is American, right? But he goes into the critical thinking part, and I think that is amazing, right? That is one of the most objectively ways to look at a problem, right? You're not trying to look at a problem based on your ground, right? Of course that you have an influence, and you need to go back and say, all right, what could it be my influence? Who can I go to consult what those influence could be counteract, right? And who has experience by that benefits and also do not benefit from it. And that's when you start talking to people that sometimes it is a more educating than you, right? Remember, being ignorant at something, it is not a bad thing. It's just a challenge. So we all are ignorant at some point. Remember, you get called ignorant, take it as a challenge. Little quick tip in there. Let's keep it as is right now. Let me just also send you here the link for that video in case you want to watch the full interview. Amazing channel, amazing overviews in here. I think this guy goes all the way out on showing and educating people. It's not about economy, it's about science, the science behind everything out there, as its name implying here, smarter every day. So he talks about the importance of the manufacturing. So what happens? Let me explain this back, because I have said this many months before, right? And it was, hey guys, when Donald Trump is pushing for tariff and is telling the industry to come back, it's not that they can just basically, yeah, let's come back around, because they already have spent millions and millions of dollars out there overseas to create not only the industry there or the manufacturing stations, but also the machinery. And over time, as Smarter Everyday Guy explained it, well, you created the intellectual work, you created the machine, and then send the machine and just teach the other country just how to push the buttons, right? The part is, or the thing that we lost control, that you guys lost control from, which is just specifically China, US section, it is that, well, it gets cheaper instead of just paying a American engineer, paying an overseas, maybe not engineer, but at that time, you created your own engineer and basically created a technician with engineer abilities, right? It was much cheaper. And then what happens? Well, then you also become, or you could create or send that information on how those machines work, because it was easier to maintain out there overseas with localized people, right? Localized manufacturing, localized lower prices. And then slowly you migrated everything, all of the knowledge back to overseas. So what's happening when like, for example, you go to into a discussion, right? Into a non-agreement with these other countries, especially somebody like, or someone like China that has all right now control over production. Well, they can tell you, hey, buddy, you pay out, right? Not specifically money, or you get nothing, right? I mean, they can actually do, hey, you know what if they just cut out all and any kind of sports? What's going to happen with all of that investments, right? I mean, now who's had the knowledge in there, you need to bring it up in here. Remember, let me repeat myself when I mentioned, when they need to move manufacturing from there back here, suddenly it's just not the manufacturing thing. You need to have the engineers, right, and the knowledge, they know how to make the stuff that make the stuff. If that makes sense, right? And right now, you don't have it. Or the people that have it or has it, it's a very limited. In this thing, and man, it really caught me off guard when he mentioned, there was one guy that he was working with that created, let me push it over here just to show you who he is, because I think this is a great area where we can learn a lot. Come on, where is it? Well, it's somewhere around here. Well, he was one of the only ones that knew how to do pressed metal machinery in his area. And what happens, this is the guy right here. So while he was filming this, trying to get his all made in US product, this guy passed away, right? So our condolences to his family. But what happened with that, it is just like samurai masters making swords, right? When we get to a point where the sword was outsourced, right? Maybe, master samurais, forgers, what they died with their knowledge. So the only way to abstract the knowledge was to seek for those people, right, that had the knowledge and learn from there. So sadly, the process of learning, of transmitting the knowledge from one generation to another one, got cut, right? And I think that is a breaking point in America. Not only in America, in Mexico, we can maybe call out, for example, how we make hamacas, right, or hammocks. How do we make I don't know, many other things, right, that we've been outsourcing also to China. So this is not just a U.S. versus China thing, right? I mean, we can look at where things are created. For example, Singapore, Costa Rica, Mexico, who creates stuff. I mean, I think essentially a huge portion it's created in China. So anywhere in Mexico or anywhere in, sorry, not in Mexico, in America, which is all the way up to all the way down, I think wherever you are, when you decide to manufacture something, go and look for local options. That is an amazing way to keep that that money in your country and feed those families that need it and doesn't fade out. Thing. Quick thinking here that I also learned throughout this interview. And I want to show you who mentioned that, if I'm not mistaken. It's almost at the end of the video, and I promise this is gonna be the last part. This guy in here, oh come on, where are you? Here, there we go. This guy in here manufactures, does metal 3D printing with CNC milling in between. So he makes some huge things, amazing stuff, right? But the important part is that what he mentions, well, if you think it for a second, AI is taking the intellectual process, right? Soon, engineers that design parts will be replaced for AI. So if you are on that section, make sure you're right now studying AI so you can use it and you don't disappear or get replaced by AI or by somebody that just uses the AI. But what does AI cannot do? And I think this is one of those things that society, it's not society, it's just the way that we evolved, right? And I think this has a deeper meaning to it. So please pay attention and please let me know. I'm trying to express myself like in the most sensitive way, right? Just like before, when we got introduction to the cars, what happened to the horsemen, right? Or not horsemen, but how do you call those guys that created the shoe horses, right? That created or that gave maintenance to cars or horses-driven cars. So all of that knowledge started dying away or also got replaced by it, right? It's one of those things like technology. You develop the technology that is going to be screwing your own jobs, if that makes sense, right? So what can't AI do? And let me give you a spoiler alert, which is AI cannot so far, just now, at this point, cannot do artisanal or handmade products. Yeah, it doesn't have hands, of course, but like, for example, what can an autonomous robot do for you? Not much. Well, we have seen those like automotive robot arms that do one thing specific, right? Or several things in specific. But at this point, what is it better than a human in a workshop? I mean, I can tell you, I do CNC machining. I do CNC woodworking better yet. That's what I do. I learned that myself, right? And I thought I just would throw wood at it and the damn thing's gonna make a, like chairs and stuff for me. No. First of all, yes, I use AI to create the chair parts, but then I need to feed the machine with the wood, calibrate the machine, do so much things with the machine, right? That it still ended up being a hard labor process. So if you guys are young and waiting to maybe study something, well, as AI ramps up, is ramping down. It's gonna be ramping down those jobs that require your hands, like mechanics, right? Like engineers in the field, right? So the way to enter into something that is not something that is going to be giving you a lot of return, it is not when everybody else is doing it. It's right at the point where nobody else is doing it. And I think they showed something like that in this video. I'm not going to be giving you any more spoilers. Guys, go watch this video. It's a full pack of revealing information. Let's move on into the charts now, because I think it's time to look at what's going on not only on Twitter, but also in the charts. So just in 60% of Fortune 500 companies are working on blockchain projects. Perfect. I mean, that is a whatever thing, right? Realized profits from 1 year BTC holders has dropped sharply from the peak of 126 million to 13.6 now, 24 HSMA, an 89% reduction. This is a little bit scary, guys. We also have seen many industries buying, guys. We need to be careful. Let's look at the charts in a second, right? This is historic. Let's take a look at this. Is actually impressive. The market value of US bonds has fallen to just 68%. Come on, really? Of the stock market's value, the lowest ratio being the key word in here, since 1970s. This share has halved in 14 years as stocks have widely outpaced bonds, right? So we've seen that recently. To put this differently, the US stock market is now 50% larger. So this is the key. As what was it? 68% ratio, right? Was a key word. At this point, it is the US stock market is now 50% larger than the bonds market. Since the beginning of 2020, the total market value of all publicly traded U.S. companies' equities has skyrocketed to 38 trillion, or 69%. Over the same time period, the value of total debt securities has risen by 17.8 trillion, or a 40%. The U.S. stock market has never been more dominant. So guys, this is important. This is great. So as we have growth, we also should be having that contraction. So seeing once again, let me come back to this, right? The SMI manufacturing, as long as what we see here, remember the 50%, below 50%, well then, despite this is recessionary called out, it is not that big of a deal if we can handle inflation and we can handle reactivate manufacturing, right? So once again, is Donald Trump a genius? Is he gonna make it? If he's gonna make it, is he gonna break some stuff? Because I mean, the point is not only having the idea, but also getting it to executing it perfectly. Let's cut the news now, and let's take a look at the charts right now. I think they're very well deserved. So far, what's going on with Bitcoin? We see that movement to the upside. Again, I mentioned today that we're going to have a little bit more downwards movement. Let's measure our movement in here. Let's grab all the way up here from all the way, down here to up here. Our 50% mark, it is not only a dynamic reactor, but also at our support area from the huge megaphone that we've been tracking since here, right? Remember that we created that megaphone in here, and then we have that double bottom fake out that we called out perfectly. So then also we looked at the 1/3 in here. Let me see, do I have double audio? Nope, that's fine. So what is a 1/3? Somewhere around here. So we could be looking at a retracement somewhere around that area. Do we have anything around that area? Of course we do. We have a previous weekly low. We have a support area or a support zone just slightly above, below, sorry, that area where we acting as a support. This support I wouldn't say so because we're going through and we did not went as high as we needed to in this zone to then completely break out of that trend line, sorry, that support zone, and then coming back down to act as a from resistance to a support, if that makes sense. The next thing that we have, and now has been increased. Remember yesterday, I believe it was a soft order block. Now it's a high order block at the same 1/3 mark. It's exactly at the 1/3 mark. So it's looking strong. My next possible entry is going to be here. Guys, today I'm going to try to discuss with Alex or Crypto in the next upcoming class the possibility of now completing a dead cat bounce. Let me go in here to a cleaner chart and let's go to daily, because if look at that, man, that is fantastic. We can now still make either a dead cat bounce. I was expecting the dead cat bounce to be a little bit lower here, but we already have a pivot at the point of our calculation for our shoulder. But also I believe that, man, things might be changing out in here. All right, remember that we draw these lines in here and we were calling out for a possible head and shoulders, right? The neckline was this one right down here, right? So the neckline cricket to the upside or to the opposite other than downside was revealing. Why? Usually that indicates that we could be having a fake out. We did have a fake out or a short-lived movement that then went up and broke above. Perfect. The only thing that now it's happening, remember what we learned with trading with OC, it is pattern morphology. Just basically a complex and fancy word or a fancy concept to say, hey, one pattern, as we go over time, it's going to change in another pattern. So keep your guard up. All right. So what is it happening here? We're making this other kind of neckline. All right. Kind of neckline. Let me see if I have a cleaner chart. Yep. Let me clear this up. Perfect. We are making this other kind of neckline in here, right? Maybe if I push a little bit, some cricket to the right. And then if we look at how we have this head and shoulders line above, which was also a range that we try to predict the head and shoulders thing from, right? Which is this one here. Well, then what could we be expecting maybe? If we have this, we could be having another head and shoulders with now the cricket neckline pointing to the downside. This is not good, guys. This is not good. Again, I don't want to be the bear for today. Let's leave this as it is for now. We have a strong opposite point to this area here, to this possible prediction, all right? And that is that we are pushing through our zero line. This is bullish, all right? This is also bullish, right? And our consolidation score is very high that we are going to be breaking the consolidation. What is the consolidation? The last area that we have. What is the last area of consolidation? This thing. So a breakout, it's imminent. Hopefully it is to the upside, but we'll see. I think that we still need to have another retraction to finalize a higher low, because so far this is a lower low. And if we go also a little bit more basic in here, we could be into a huge megaphone. All right, I know there's too many lines in here, so let's leave it as is. So basically like that, the megaphone, right? But let's just leave it as is for now. Let's try not to make a mess out of this drawing, right? So for that, let me see if I can unclick this. Yep, that's it. Yeah, I know that has an alert. Left this as it is, and perfect. All right, so far, what is the deal? Well, the deal is going to be trying to long Bitcoin as we get somewhere around the previous areas of support. And if you take a look at here, well, I was expecting this to come out as a support. And it is. There we go, previous weekly lows. Somewhere around 107, let's call it. So 107 is going to be our next possible target for the daily. but we're going to be doing that very, very extremely cautious, right? So just like the markets are cautiously optimistic, we're going to be doing exactly the same, right? We're going to be looking for long opportunities on retracements, and when we get those retracements, we're going to be taking that that possibility. Remember, using a stop loss, of course, and also managing our risk. So far, here is 106, 107-ish areas for the next bouncing zone on the 4 hours, right? And then the next possible areas are going to be all the way down here, 103, and we'll play it from that zone all the way there. We're always looking for that flip of the ribbon. All right, so that's what we're having right here on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at gold, and let's also take a look at Brent. So let's take a look at oil. All right, as we were talking about, oil's is not in a bad place. In fact, it has been playing out exactly as we expected last time, right? We had a bullish possible flag. Usually also tilted downwards ranges tend to break to the upside. I was expecting an early breakout of that zone, but what we had an earlier breakout of the zone, but the same possible targets are being hit. So at this point, what could we be expecting? A retracement on oil. Again, I don't know if anything's gonna be playing out like it should be. Why? Because yes, we are in previous double top areas, so we should be coming back down for a final retest, secondary entry opportunities, and then blast through. But if we have a fundamental news in here that says, hey, buddy, we are coming back with exports and imports, right? Well, then this is not going to have a retracement. This is going to have just a breakout movement to the upside, right? Why? Because we are in front of big, very expected, very dangerous fundamentals, which is Donald Trump and Xi Jinping talking about the exports, imports, and the restriction that each one has to the other one, right? So we need to look into it. Let's take a look at gold. Let's take a look at this one, gold futures. You know what? I also have the one that I really like. Here it is, AXU, if I'm not mistaken. XAU, perfect. And well then, as we were looking into the previous time, well, we have that breakout, retest, but not off we go. So it has the best, or the initial breakout to the areas that we were expecting. Beautiful entry right there. Nonetheless, we did not continue to the downside. That is fabulous if you have gold. Nonetheless, at this point, we are in dangerous zones. Yes, we're trying to break these triangles. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. But again, look at that ranging areas. We haven't burst with that strength. Why? Because everybody is just waiting to see what's going to happen with the talks with, again, China and US. Buying entries in gold, not so far. Let me just clean everything up in here. And let's bring up some other tools to see where we have some support or possible entries. Let me also draw some trend lines in here. There we go. And as long as we don't lose this trend line, I think we are good for keep ranging in this point. But we're ranging upwards. Usually ranging upwards tends to break to the downside, and then possible entry zones somewhere around here. So let's keep an eye on this area. Let me actually go a little bit higher in case we do get the 3,200 zones. Sorry about that. And well, that's what we're going to be looking for, the best possible entry. If we have not that great news, or if we have great news, I think we're going to be seeing people selling out on gold. And if we have bad news or just neutral news, we're going to be seeing the same oscillation. So possible entries could be at the bottom in here, where we are, but do not go all in. I would suggest, not financial advice, friendly suggestion, maybe 1/4 of an entry. Let's take a look at Solana. And also, let's take a look at Ethereum, because Solana and Ethereum, well, then we've seen that they're going to be releasing some stable coins on them. So we have a beautiful trend line in here. There it is. We have a breakout. We have a push through the dynamic reactor. We have a possible reversal. That reversal, I believe that we need to make one last push through, because we haven't yet broken with strength this area. So I think that we need to have that push through to this area here before we have a retracement. If we don't, and if we keep going downwards, at least I want to see a range, right? Anything less than a range is gonna go farther down to a deeper retracement somewhere on the trend line retest right here, somewhere around your 145-ish zone. All right, so that's for Solana. Let me add a little bit of an alerting here in case we get to those buying areas, and another alerting here in case we have that breakout. And if we have that breakout that I'm expecting, I'm going to be shorting it and then longing it as we go. And finally, let's wrap things up with Ethereum. Ethereum doing nicely. Remember, we were expecting that push through to the upside, depending on if we have that bounce or a breakout. What do we have? A breakout to the upside, of course. Right? We were looking for either a bounce or a breakout. We have the breakout, and so far we're doing a fantastic job, basically at the top of the range. Important, if you longed it, well, now it's time to take some profits, partial profits. I think that will be the way to go, because we are still on the range, and you don't want to hold at the top, where if it retraces and it takes you back out, at least you want to take some profits at the top. All right, so that is my opinion. Let me just get rid of this because it did not play it out. Remember, we were expecting those breakouts or rejections, and we have a breakout to the upside. Fantastic. So we knew exactly what to do in that situation. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining today. Again, a lot of news. I think we spent quite big chunk of the news. I think the video that I show you guys is very important. Go watch it. Also, you can come back and see which minute I was on. In fact, I can tell you right away, it was somewhere around, I don't know. I think I missed that mark. Yeah, here it is, around the 18-minute mark in the video that I shared with you guys. I think it explains a lot on why is it important to have manufacturing knowledge here in your base country, right? And why is it important also the reaction that is playing out. So everything needs to have a measurement, and everything needs to have a limit point. And I think we are reaching those limits in where we should be taking and paying attention, because when the market flips, we need to be ready to make some money out there in the market. Guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys tomorrow. And guys, stay awesome.
We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead on. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels slow. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Class in session, this for the homie Piper, act right. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, former Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crystal with a deep dive to reject time. And if you like the visual powered by Clark Prime, then you will call that not a soft spine. But if you have steps, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead on. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling out the wheels slow. That was awesome, dude!